and here's the teams. George Rogers, the New Zealand captain. Jason Silamaka, the players to watch there. Chrissy Wall, a local boy from Waikato. Nazia Silbury, a bit of a sprinter. And our standout player for me has been Bruce Kake. He's been very strong in the series. Dean, the Australians.
The Australians have got a very strong lineup here again this afternoon. A couple of key changes. You'll notice that Andrew Gallier and their very experienced Craig Pearce is out. They've been replaced by debutants Trent Matters and also Jason Lolbach.
And in particular reasons for those changes?
Just injuries, mate. Very heavy clash last night and a great game. It's a New Zealand quickly on the attack there.
Oh, gee, there wasn't too much in that, and he only got the touch on him as he was diving over the line, very close to the line there too, so that was a good start by New Zealand, and they retained position, so they'd be pretty happy with the way they started the game. And obviously, I think New Zealand got plenty to play for, even though the series has gone for them. They still really want to try and come away with a win and prove that they can beat this Australian men's side.
Very unlucky last night, the Kiwis. They played a great game of touch. Many thought they should have come away from the victories. Again, they're going close. That's going to be a close call.
Yeah, the referee's
the touch.
And what's the referee say? The referee says, no, that ball was down. So that's the New Zealand number 4, Jay Ford over there.
He looked as though he got right underneath the defensive line up there. And that's a great start for the Kiwis.
Exactly the start they wanted, Dino. And here's the replay. There's the New Zealand just pulling Australian defender out, just pulling one way, back into the player, just putting him on the outside of his man.
Great change of direction.
Great change of direction. Good try by New Zealand.
There.
So New Zealand go ahead 1-0, and that's exactly the start they'd have wanted, I think, Dean.
Exactly. Now, Australia on the attack here. That's their captain, Neil Ward, and he'll be looking to really inspire the boys. There's McDonald. He's caught 5 out.
Yeah, the Australians just setting up now, just playing with a wee bit of patience. They know that what they need to do is get through their sets of 6. Attention to the basics is important. And noticed that a lot of these games last night, there were uncharacteristic errors by both sides. And here's the Australians just running the ball into that left-hand New Zealand corner. But good sliding defence by New Zealand there, Dean. Just couldn't keep them out.
Yeah, very good defence from New Zealand. They made up their markers. They knew who they were taking. They didn't let the Australians cross them up defensively.
Yeah, good yards by New Zealand here too. Excellent yards by New Zealand, just coming out of defence there, and they've got themselves right up over the 10-metre mark, and they'll be looking to set up for something maybe on the 4th.
Yeah, unlucky not to get a penalty here too. Trent McDonald hard in the touch, and you can see the Kiwis bringing the Australians out now. They want to try and get them into this standoff situation as they drive into their defensive line now. Nice
scoop, just a bit compressed here on their attack. Yeah, dummy half there caught with the ball, so the Australians get the ball, get a chance to get back off their line here.
There's that's young Matters there, the brother of Craig Matters, making his debut for Australia today. He's given away a penalty. That's not the start he'd be looking for, nor Coach Liam Stanley.
And penalised there for just pushing a little bit too hard there in the initiation phase of the touch. And the referees have been a pretty physical contest in all these grades things.
I think that's because how close the two nations are now. A few years back, Australia had the edge over New Zealand, but New Zealand are right up there now, and it's only a struck match between both playing nations.
Chrissy Wall.
Great touch there. You can see New Zealand trying to stretch the Australian defence and then look to drop it back on the inside through a switch play.
So here New Zealand's attacking this other corner now, and there's a switch play. They'll just drop one right in the centre here.
Looking to bring the Australians out. Making a touch on Gary Sonder there. Stepping back again, trying to go under, but great defence there. That was the number 1, Shane Jewell from Australia.
And there's the turnover, so the Australians got the opportunity now to clear their line. Pretty good defence by them. They read everything the Kiwis were throwing at them there.
That was forward. They got away with that. That was forward.
That was clearly forward from where we're sitting, wasn't it?
Certainly. That's Lolbach now making his debut again for Australia. They come through looking to get the ball out in the wrap, but that's McDonald there, Gavin McDonald, the older of the McDonald brothers. There's Stowe driving forward. Craig Matters at half. He gives it off to Stowe. Stowe driving it again, but they've wasted that set of 6 and not very good field position.
Yeah, I noticed that one of the things that you and I both noticed in these games is a number of players slipping over in this cricket pitch area. It's just happening all the time.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's a beautiful venue you're playing here, but unfortunately the cricket square is not conducive to touch. Very hard underfoot. A little bit of grass cover makes it very slippery. But it's even for both sides.
And there, once again, that's happened.
Yeah, just a bit too rough in the touch there.
Well, I think in this particular game, because New Zealand are really playing on for their pride in this game, I think you're going to find there's going to be no lack of spirit in both sides. The Aussies will be looking for a clean sweep here, and the New Zealanders want to get one back to show that they can do it. And I think there's going to be plenty of aggro going on out there.
Anytime Australia, New Zealand go head-to-head, that's the same. That's close. That's close. Oh, he's ruled the touch. A bit of angriness there.
Yeah, both players having a few things to say to each other there, Dino.
Yeah, and that's that fierce rivalry, but also the passion of playing for your country coming out in both teams.
Absolutely.
It's been a good start to the game.
Yeah, I think any time you get a New Zealand and Australia side playing each other, they're really full on, aren't they? And, you know, this is what we want to see. As Anna Richards was saying last night, it's a bit like a war out there at times.
Oh, it certainly is, certainly is. The Kiwis going the attack again, trying to draw Australia out there. They're attacking the short side there. But Chris Farrow, the number 12 for Australia, making the touch.
There's New Zealand once again. Just looking for that cut play, bringing the ball back and giving some opportunities to both sides of the field. And there's the cut.
Second phase.
Good second phase. They're looking to set the second phase up right just inside the 5 there. Yeah, that's number 12 for New Zealand.
Well, what's he ruled there? I think he's ruled he's dropped the ball.
The referee's called a timeout. He's talking to the Australian defender there. And he may be saying that you were holding the guy back. Yes, he absolutely is saying that.
Well, that's interesting. He's called him holding the player back, and we've seen in other games when that ruling has been given, the player dismissed for a period of time.
Yeah, we've seen that on a couple of occasions over the series, that the defender trying to prevent the support player picking up a pass. And there's New Zealand replied straight away from that one. They've made them pay for that penalty. They didn't score it the first time, but they certainly got it the second. And there's New Zealand.
Well, that's certainly the start New Zealand wanted.
This is absolutely the start that New Zealand wanted. We're just coming up to the replay now, Dino, and we'll see this. Here we go. Step back one way. Nice long ball. Nice long miss ball.
Oh, that was close, but I'll tell you what. You've got to go with the referee's decision there. It was very close whether Jamie Stowe made the touch, but New Zealand really set that up well, stretched Australia, sucked them into the middle of the field, and then the long searching pass, finding the winger flying.
Jeff Nate, that was number 10. Nice hands by him, and he had to catch the ball in the dive. It wasn't an easy one to finish off, actually. Second phase play by the Australians.
Yeah, not square there. Neil Ward rolling the ball, not square. Australia must be disappointed in their attack so far. They just haven't seemed to settle.
No, they're certainly getting the yards up there, but when they get up there, they haven't seemed to think. Once again, there's just an error in the play of the ball, not planting it properly, and really the attention to the basics is just so important here, isn't it?
It certainly is, and especially when you've been under pressure, you want to get that ball way downfield, put the defensive team under pressure on their line. And control coming off your line is one of the key elements to this game.
Here's the Australians attacking through Jason Stanton.
Sapelio there, he gave the ball back inside to McDonald. You'll notice McDonald running a lot of their plays. And there's Stanton with the ball again. The flick pass back inside the Ward, going to ground, but Australia pick up the penalty.
Jason Stanton there, just flick past behind, but they have picked up the penalty there. New Zealand is not making the ground back to their goal line, so there's another. Defending these back-to-back sets of 6 is pretty tough at this level.
It certainly is. Australia need to stretch New Zealand here. They need to be sending the ball across the park. Plenty of switch-ups, release the ball, and try and maneuver the Kiwi players out of position. There's Matters, he's got an opportunity, but it's quickly shut by the Kiwis.
Jason Stanton just in again there now. They're just looking to try and stretch this defensive web wide. Of course,
a young Craig Matters in his first game certainly had plenty of touches on the ball.
He certainly has. He's been involved in just about everything, and he'll be looking to make his mark and taking this opportunity to show that he can step up.
He's out on the field at the moment with his brother, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the brothers get together and try an attacking play. There's Craig now, picks up his brother Brent.
Well, they probably do all the stuff in their backyard at home, mate.
They certainly have for many years. I'll be interested. There's a good ball. He's picked that
lovely ball. Nice little low pass, and he picks up Trent McDonald in the corner, and Australia reply almost straight away. So it's exactly what they would have been wanting, and I'm sure now that Coach Ian Stanley will be pretty happy with that. They're starting to show a lot more control of the Australians on attack.
Yeah, so the replay comes up now. You see that Matters gets it to
and watch
Jason
this nice
Stanley.
little low ball here, just under the defender. Yeah, lovely little ball, late low ball, and great hands by Trent McDonald to get over in the corner. So we're scores now 2-1 to New Zealand, and a nice reply by Australia.
But the Kiwis are straight back on the attack here. Again, you can see them working to the centre of the field, switching the play up, bringing it back to the centre. They're looking for that second phase play again.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any shortage of enterprise by both sides, and clearly no one's going to rest in their laurels. New Zealand aren't happy to accept the fact that the series is gone for them, but they're playing with a lot of spirit in this game, and the Australians clearly want to make a clean sweep of it, and they're showing plenty of spirit as well.
And unlucky not to score there, New Zealand. Caught Shane Jewell napping defensively.
Zane Locoparty just looking for those nice long balls, bring the ball back over the centre. But the Australian defence are coming up, sending the flyer out and reading that pretty quickly.
Yeah, Gary Sonder up, reading the play that time, looking for the long ball back inside as New Zealand still stretching the play. Bring it back to the centre of the field, now dragging the Australians out.
Kenny Puera, their number 5, one of the stars of the New Zealand team last night, and he had a very strong game.
A sensational game.
Jason Silamaka trying to go through and just touched as he went through, so Australia coming off their line.
Yeah, the Australians read that defensive pattern very well. There's Gavin Shuker, and he was definitely the star for the Australians last night. Got him out of trouble with a couple of seconds locked on the clock, and then scored the winner in the drop-off.
There's one of the things you notice from, certainly you notice from up here, is that there's one-off passes off the ruck quite often. You can see from up here, and they just look forward a lot of the time. The referees don't seem to pick it up.
Yeah, very flat. It's interesting too, the referees being wide for sound, but those passes are very flat, and there's that slipperiness coming into a play again. That's Chris Morrow. He's thrown a flick pass back inside the ward, and that was a 6th touch, and that was a very lazy set from the Australians.
It obviously shows the depth in Australian touch, though, where players from the last World Cup, like Bus Boland and Bobby Brindell, not playing now, but obviously there's plenty of depth in Australian touch, so they're able to pick up some pretty able replacements. And there's another lazy pass by the Aussies.
And that could be costly. You've got the ball back in very good field position. You've got 6 touches to attack the line, and you put it down on the first.
Yeah, Ian Stanley won't be very happy with that, and I'm sure what he's been saying to those players in the sub-box, come on, boys, attention to the basics. Let's pick up our yardage and make sure we get through our sets of 6. It's all a game of yardage and field position, Dino, and the Australians just turning it over too easily there.
Yeah, their ball control has been poor so far. But look for them to settle. They've still got, you mentioned the likes of Mark Boland, Bobby Brindle and Scott Notley being there. They've still got a lot of experience out there. Craig Matters has been there for a while now. You've also got the likes of the McDonald brothers. They've also represented Australia on a number of occasions, and their experience needs to come to the fore.
It's Chrissy Wall, number 3 for New Zealand, just looking to pick up George Rogers, his captain, and there's an incredibly long ball by George, and it was a forward pass, unfortunately, by
unlucky there for George Rogers. I thought he's been playing very well for New Zealand and really leading from the front.
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly shown a lot of leadership, and in the disappointment of last night, he held his team together very well. I talked to him after the game, and he said, no, we've still got another chance to prove that we can do it. And he was a bit disappointed, but he held the team really well together, and he's shown a lot of leadership right throughout the series, and he's great. He's 34 years old now, George. He's a bit long in the tooth for this.
He's getting up near my age. In fact, I think I used to play against George many years ago.
I think you actually did then, didn't you?
There's Zabulio. Oh, Zabulio searching. He's very quick, and if he had got through there, it would have been interesting.
Just a little show of the ball there by Zabulio, and the Kiwis almost bought that, but they just managed to get a hand at the last minute and just touch him as he was going through. As George Rogers once again just showing that they can't leave the ball sitting on the ground there too long either. These transitions, they really need to make sure the ball doesn't stay on the ground too long. And there's Luke Lagerparty, Chrissy Wall.
They've gone through there, very well set up. There's a chance here, and he's thrown that down. Referee's found a penalty. That must be for a late pass.
Yeah, late pass. The Australians call it here in New Zealand. We call that a touch and pass. So you can't, for those people who don't know a lot about the game we're viewing today, you can't pass the ball after you've been touched. If you do, you lose possession.
There's a simple mistake again by the Australians. A little bit unlucky that time from Trent McDonald. It was an accidental foot in there from the Kiwis, but you've got to take the ball the way it bounces.
Absolutely, and I think, in terms of the refereeing here, Peter Clark, Adam Foley, Tim Lucas, there's some pretty experienced referees.
Some very good referees.
Yep.
And here's a chance.
Well, referee Lucas saying no, he was touched in the dive, but those are 50-50 calls often, Dino, aren't they, with the referees?
Oh, they certainly are. There's a lot of pressure on the referee out there. You've got one team saying they've got it down and the other team saying they've made the touch, and it really is tight on a lot of occasions.
And there we go. New Zealand actually had an inside overlap there, and if he had caught that ball on the inside pass, it could have been a try there. It was good scrambling defence by the Australians. They gave up possession for another set of 6, but really they had no choice in that occasion.
Deliberate play, try and get the man and also take the ball. Allows the defence to reset, and that's what Australia have to do here. They have to regain some composure and set their defensive line. As the New Zealanders are attacking again, there's chances out wide, but well read and covered up by the Australians.
It was well read, and I think it called from the missed pass. You could have missed the link there and passed it straight to the wing, and the wing was unmarked.
New Zealand going back to their normal game here. They're bringing the Australians up, looking to stump on in the centre field.
There we go, just setting it up in the centre. Look for this drop, the link coming in. They'll probably cut back the other way. Well read by the Australians, and they just regain position, and they'll just run it off their line here and try and get themselves out of the red zone.
Brothers McDonald here trying to get the Australians out. It's a penalty there.
And once again, that's that pushing in the play the ball, and referee Tim Lucas has said, we're not going to have any of that today, boys. It can be physical, but not overly physical.
Australians now looking to go into transition and get some fresh legs out there. There's Ward driving.
Yeah, good yards. Good yards by him. Yeah, excellent yardage play by the Australians. They're really starting to put it to the New Zealand defence now with some of this driving through the ruck area.
They need to capitalise here. Young Matters. Yeah, the pass was very late. Inexperience there.
Yeah, referee Lucas saying that was a touch and pass. New Zealand get the ball back. Once again, you see the defender running right through that ruck area, and that's another area you've got to be careful about doing that, because quite often referees will penalise you if you do that.
It's one thing I've noticed a lot over these last 3 days, is that there's been a lot of interference in the ruck, but the referees seem hesitant to penalise it on a few occasions.
Well, I guess what they're probably doing there is as long as the player doesn't interfere, he probably is going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But, you know, I certainly know that referees don't like players doing that, and they'll tell you to get out of that ruck area and don't do that. And a lot of times you will get penalised for that.
Australia, I don't think, have really settled yet in this game. They're still searching for that fluidness of movement they had last night. And there's Shuka making some really good yardage, and they really need to take advantage as Sonda comes into half.
Yeah, some good thinking by Gavin Shuka there, because he wasn't going to go all the way, but he knew he had an opportunity to maximise the amount of yards, and there's a lovely little cut back flip.
Yeah, Neil Ward, the Australian captain, picking up Jewel on the late switch.
And they're certainly stretching the Kiwis across the field, one side to the other, trying to create some gaps in between defenders that they can run into.
Here's an opportunity. That's a great play there.
Australian number 9, Shane Jewell, scores.
Yeah, but sent up by the youngster. Young Brent Matters went out of half there, took the defence with him. We'll see it shortly on the replay.
We have a tied ball game here. Australia 2, New Zealand 2. Here we go. Here's the replay now. Just a little flick pass. Player coming back on the other angle. Number 9, Shane Jewell for Australia. Read that pretty well, and actually have a very nice, very smartly taken try by the Australians.
Unlucky there, New Zealand, trying to get underneath the Australian defence, right between the two middles. Playing a very expansive game, the Kiwis, and playing it well.
Jason Silamaka trying to pick up, missed ball there, pick up his winger, but unfortunately that one went to ground. So once again, the Australians just clearing off their, out of their red zone here. Just driving it up.
That's a good drive, but no acting half there to take advantage.
He's driving it up there through number 15, Adam Lowblack, and he's a player that's not known to me. Dino, is he new on the Australian touch team at this level?
Yeah, he was brought in for this particular series after an injury during the training camps. Plays for the Parramatta Club back in Sydney and has been performing very well. And given an opportunity here today, needs to grab it with both hands.
And no Shane Fredrickson in the Australian lineup this time around.
No, unfortunately, Shane's been in America for a while, and his presence has obviously been missed, but we've got to unearth new talent all the time. It's the same as the New Zealanders have to do. You can't keep going back to the world.
Yeah, certainly he was certainly the standout player at the last World Cup, and certainly for me he was anyway. And I was just asking one of the Australian guys before the game where he was, and he did say that Shane was otherwise occupied at the moment, but he'd be a bit of a loss to the game in Australia.
Oh, certainly a freakish player. Can do things that you're really not entitled to do out on the touch field.
That's right. Oh, gee, you know, you really look at the skills of some of these Australian and New Zealand players now, and the skill level is just absolutely incredible, isn't it?
And I'll tell you what's even more impressive is some of the young kids coming through the school systems, both in Australia and New Zealand. I was watching some of those youngsters out here earlier today, and I'll tell you what, the Kiwis that are coming through in the next 4 or 5 years, we've got some worry on our hands.
Oh, it's good to hear an Australian admit that, then. Yeah, it's good. It's such a great game for kids to play, of course, isn't it? You know, nice and simple. And, oh, yeah, referee, it was a bit of a rough call there. Calling a incorrect play of the ball, so the Australians get the ball back to Jason Stanton.
Good defence there by George Rogers.
George Rogers read that pretty well. He just rushed out and shut that down straight away.
You can see we spoke about it earlier, the way he's trying to lead this team. He's trying to lead them from the front and doing an excellent job at the moment. The Australians are trying to set something up here.
or a minute out from half-time, or just inside a minute out from half-time, and you know, either one of these sides would dearly love to go into this half-time break, I think, being one up. But
well, here's a chance.
And here's a chance for the Australians.
He's put his foot out.
Just his foot on the touchline there, because that was a try for all money.
That can be costly later in the game, I think. Opportunity there for Australia to really nail it on half-time.
And here we go. Here we just look at it in the replay. A little draw and pass play. Easy, simple pass. And he just kind of lost his position on the field. And just foot on the touchline, that was enough for the referee. Sorry, you were out. And that would have been the try that Australia would have dearly loved to have gone into half-time for.
Hello, there's something going on out here. He's called time off. He's asked for both captains to come out. This might be for a little bit of physical play, but I think it might also be for the talk from the players towards the referees.
Yeah, well, he's got George Rogers out there, and he's got both captains, and he's laying the law down to them. I think it's an indication of the intensity in this game between both players, and there's a fair bit of pointing going on. New Zealand get a penalty.
I think some of the referees have to show an understanding of actually how slippery it is out there. And when you've got bodies in motion at full flight, it's very difficult to pull yourself up.
Well, it's a bit like a controlled car wreck, actually, sometimes.
New Zealand with an opportunity to try and nail one here as the half-time hooter goes.
And there, the whistle goes for half-time. So here we are, half-time. New Zealand 2, Australia 2 in this open men's game. And a really full-on contest here, Dino. Yeah, back to the second half of this third and final test between Australia and New Zealand men's open, Dean, and 2-2, pretty full-on first half. Both sides, nothing between both these sides at the moment.
No, and the game's really there for the taking as the Australians open up. Well, that's great hands there from Gavin McDonald.
Jason Stanton.
He's going through.
Sold the dummy.
He's going to award that.
He is going to award that, and the touch was obviously missed, but probably only by a centimetre, and that was a nice dive by Jason Stanton. Ball in one hand, he got the ball down, and that's exactly the start that the Australians would have been looking for.
Well, that's a great start for the Australians. You can see Neil Ward here drifting across field. The pass inside was not great. It went great hands from Gavin McDonald. Then there's nothing really on there, and Jason Stanton's thrown a little dummy. He's caught the Kiwi defence napping.
Yeah, ball just under the downward hand of the New Zealand defender to get the ball, and he just touched the line with it as well. So good try by Jason Stanton. Ideal start in the second half by Australia.
Probably just rewards for Jason. I thought he was Australia's best in the first half.
Yeah, he was very impressive in the first half.
Nearly a chance there for New Zealand once again.
Jason Silamaka just about dummying his way through there, and almost a reply straight away from the Kiwis.
Been a good player for a long time for New Zealand, Jason Silamaka. Really gave the Australians.
Jason Silamaka just trying to cook up something there. Little cup play, they're looking for some second phase here. Trying to pull the defenders out again, trying to pull a penalty, and I think maybe that's not the way they should be going. I think they should be looking for the second phase play, just dropping inside the 5, trying to get a scoop on, maybe look for the long ball.
They're just having a look at the Australian defence here. They're trying to pick where they want to go at the moment. Nothing really happening.
Yeah, I think the Australian is Luke Logoparty with the ball, and Jason Silamaka dropped that one cold. Not the best of passes, but certainly catchable.
Certainly at this level, that's one you expect them to take. And Australia now on the attack. They look more fluid this second half. There's Sonder with a searching ball out to Shuka.
Just coming up over the 10-metre mark, the Australians, and they're looking pretty confident now. They're certainly got the game settled down a bit. Some pretty good. Their basics are good.
Far more ball movement. You can see the coach, Stanley, has really had a word to him at half-time about the way they need to attack this second half. And there's young Brent Matters again with a play on call. Australia scored again.
Through Matty Curran, Brent Matters.
And young Brent Matters there is really having a great game in his first test match for Australia.
He's certainly stepping up to the mark, isn't he, Dean? And yeah, nice little bit of play by him. Draw and pass at the end there, and Matty Curran in.
You can see here, Shuka drives into the player. There's young Brent Matters. Gets him. He's called him offside. Yep. He's called Jason Silamaka offside, and that's why he's allowed him to play through.
Well, of course, the referee can say that you're offside, and it's a play through, so it gives the advantage to the attacking side, and they took full advantage of that then. And Matty Curran, nice try for Australia.
Really challenging New Zealand now, the Australians, and it'll be interesting to see how New Zealand hit back. They've certainly got the talent, they've got the players. It'll be interesting to see how much of last night's loss has really taken out of them mentally.
Yep, absolutely. And well, they've got the man at the helm to do that, and George Rogers to marshal his troops and make sure that they come away from this game with the result. And you know, let's hope that that these guys don't get their heads down, because they don't need to. There's a long way to go, and they've still got plenty of time to get in it. And they just really need to now start using those top 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, and they've certainly got the players to test Australia. Once again, looking on the setup. There's the long searching, but young Brent Mathers again. You can't keep him out of the game.
No, he wants to be involved in everything, and actually he could have, if he had caught that, he had a lot of clear field ahead of him.
Certainly would have been interesting. He's not the quickest player in Australia, but he's certainly not slow.
I just wonder whether New Zealanders are pulling themselves too far back here when they're setting up for these attacks. And they're going back about 25 metres there, which is a long way to go back and trying to pulling the advancing defence out.
And not really putting any pressure on the Australian defensive line at the moment. The first half they impressed me because they went side to side, switches, wrap and release. So they put pressure on the Australian defensive line. At the moment, they're not really putting that pressure on the defensive line.
Just moving the ball side to side.
And you can see there, the Australians just waiting for that. They read that well.
Pretty easy to read that. And the ball, with a fair bit of hang time on that ball, the Australians plenty of time to get in to set that, and just an easy take and another set of 6 for them.
Yeah, for New Zealand to get back in this one at the moment, they really need to start pressuring the Australian line. There's Zabulio looking wide. He picks up Ward, drops it back inside to Zabulio, and all of a sudden the New Zealand line is under ragged attack. And
they're really rolling backwards now at a rate of knots in New Zealanders. They don't want to have to do that, be in that situation when the attack's coming at them and they're retreating, and it's really, really hard on the defence when that happens.
Australia be pleased with that set of 6, getting it back off their own line and making it all the way down the field.
New Zealand just got to get themselves composed here again, get their yard, pick up their yardage game.
That's good play from New Zealand. Look, they're getting fresh troops on now and making good yardage at the same time.
Put to a ground to a halt on that now.
That's
one of those basic errors that'll hurt them.
Yeah, that could come back to haunt them here, giving the Australians very good field positioning on the halfway.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming with the line like that, you really want to make sure you get, after defending, you really want to make sure you get through a good set of 6 and get some fresh legs on, at least make halfway or get to your subbing box and get through a full set of 6 without dropping or fumbling the ball.
See Australia now, they're on their attack. They're about 8 out. That's great hands from Gavin Sugar. And
a little dummy show of the ball there, just had it behind his back, trying to put the defence in 2 minds. It's stretching them once again off over to this left-hand side of the field.
There's Stanton again, looking to come into Farrow.
Yeah, pretty well read by the New Zealand defence, and they're just crowding themselves into the corner a wee bit, the Australians there. Just a bit of draw and pass play here by New Zealand.
And they go again, the New Zealand team. That's a far better play. They've found some open spaces there, and they're making very good yards. And
yeah, see, once again, someone slips over in that cricket pitch area, and the ball gets turned over. Yeah, they did make some good yards out of there, didn't they? Just searching for a wee bit of space out wide with some long balls and picking up a good easy 15 metres at a time with 2 passes. That's really what they want to do, is playing smart.
Yeah, they're making some errors at very critical times, and basic skill errors too.
It's certainly funny when you analyse the games at this level sometimes. Often the game can hinge on 2 or 3 little errors like that, can't it? And sometimes, you know, players don't realise how important those things are. Good roll balls, no forward passes. Once again, you see those passes, one off the ruck, and they're dangerously close to being forward. They're so flat.
Simple game when executed properly, this game of touch. And there's Sonder out of the half. The long searching ball back to McDonald. He's freeze frames.
Yeah, once again, his ball put down, little late cut. Hit the player on the shoulder. Once again, it was quite catchable, though.
I suppose the thing we really have to make the viewers aware of is the pressure that is out there.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, because it's easy for us up here to sit and say these things, but we're not out there having a whole lot of people in our faces all the time. And
well, I've played some great games from up here.
I think we both have, mate. Some of my best games, in fact, have been played up here.
This is better from New Zealand. You can see, unlucky there, he slipped, but you can see they're now starting to move the Australian defence around. All of a sudden, they've got him under pressure. There's an opportunity. I think that's... Oh, he's called the touch.
Kenny Pereira called the touch, and gee, that was nothing in that.
Yeah, very close. I thought he may have just slipped underneath Gary Sonder. Certainly Sonder made the touch, but I thought the ball may have been down first.
Yeah, once again, of course, it's easier up here to make those calls, isn't it? And the referee has to make his mind up in a pretty much a split second about those things.
Australia really driving forward well now. 2 touches, 3 onto the halfway. Getting fresh troops on.
Yeah, I think one of the good things about this too, even though you do have three referees on these games, I think it's always.
Here's a chance, Gary. Oh, there's an opportunity.
Wasn't
6 to go.
Yeah, there's still that.
No, he's real knocked down. He's real knocked down.
Still the element of human error in these games. You don't have the benefit of video referees and all that kind of thing. And I think that's probably one of the good things about the game, because often those calls go both ways. What are we called here?
He's called timeout again. He's calling out number 2, Gary Sonder. I think this is going to be for back chat. He's putting for time. Well, that's an interesting call, that one.
Gary Sonder, little wry smile on his lips as he goes back into the sin bin area.
Yeah, I know the referee called the 2 captains out just before half-time there. Obviously a bit worried about the amount of chat coming from players. The Australian players calling there that the roll ball took place off the mark. Maybe a little bit over-vigorous from Gary Sonder, and the referee wasn't happy with it.
No, it wasn't. Once again, there's a hand in the play the ball by the Australians. New Zealand got the ball back here through George Rogers.
It's a critical part of the game here. New Zealand need to score. They've got the advantage of the extra player, and they really need to put one on the scoreboard.
Well, we've seen this in 2 or 3 of these games, actually. And there's a little underhand pass to the New Zealand number 4, Jay Ford. They just did it right, didn't they? Drawing pass, numbers versus numbers. And that's really the way that they needed to set up for that. And, normally it's a numbers game. 5 on 6, pretty hard to defend.
It certainly was. And as you can see the replay coming in here, New Zealand bringing it to this side of the field. Drags 2 defenders to him. Unfortunately, young Brent Mathers there didn't need to come in.
He didn't need to have overread that play by New Zealand. He just needed to stick out in his wing, and New Zealand wouldn't have scored that touchdown.
Certainly Australia back with 6 now, and again already on the attack as the ball finds Stanton from the Western Suburbs Club. And there's...
Yeah, an over-vigorous touch there by New Zealand, so referee Lucas says now in Australia you can have that penalty.
Young Farrow, he's quick, that kid. He's like lightning. Trying to search for that hole out there.
He certainly accelerated pretty quickly through that gap.
Australia now.
Just a little wrap-around play. The Australians seem to be very fond of that. Just looking to try and pull the defence one way, then go the other. Jason Stanton again.
I'd like to see the Australians just speed up their play here. Attack at pace, not slow the game down.
So I think you often see people cite that as one of the big differences between the Australia and New Zealand game. Oh, there, the hole was opening up, and they just needed to catch the ball. Unfortunately, it went down.
Unfortunate for Neil Ward, he didn't pick that up. He's been one of Australia's best so far in this series.
Yeah, I think often you see when the New Zealand attack gets up to the Australian line, it tends to slow down and try and pull the defensive side out, whereas the Australian attack, they generally tend to just attack full on, and it doesn't give the defence chance to get reorganised, Dean, does it?
It certainly does, and that's the essence of the game in Australia, that speed of play. 2 different styles, and when they go head-to-head, it's great to watch.
Yeah, it is great to watch. Jason Stanton, now he's been in everything today too. He's had a fine game.
Yeah, I think this is Jason's best game of the series so far. He's played pretty well all tour, including the provincial matches, but this is by far his best test match. And here's another opportunity for Mathers. He gives it to Stan Stanley. Great ball out there. The rollback, and Lolback gets his first in test match football.
Yeah, nice little drawing pass play there. Once again, you see the New Zealand defender just sucked in maybe a half a metre, and that was just enough for that ball to be released really quickly. Once again, it went through the hands of that man, Jason Stanton.
You'll see it here as the Australians come across. There's Shuka with the ball. A little dummy fade, then to Stanton, to Mathers. Yeah. Mathers to Stanton.
Yeah, nice try in the corner by Australia. And I think the New Zealand side were thinking they were looking for a cut to go in there, and there wasn't the cut, and they just kept going to that draw and pass situation.
The big rap I'll give on Stanton there is the unselfish play. You would have seen a lot of players try and dive underneath there, but he thought, no, I'll give the pass to a player in far better position.
It made it look pretty easy in the end, actually.
New Zealand now, they have to hit back. They're attacking the line. They've got numbers, and that's play on. That's coming off the Australian hands.
Coming off the Australian hand into the hands of the New Zealander. Luke Logoparty, that was. Sex Canterbury now playing his touch in Auckland, and New Zealand bring one back straight away, and it's that 60-second break after the attacking side has scored. Then the other team come back, and the defence is in a little bit of still thinking about the try that they just scored before. New Zealand took full advantage of that. And there we go, Luke Logoparty, pretty easy in the end as well.
Yeah, the referee's ruled that Craig Matters, the number 3 there for Australia, has touched that ball just as he was making the touch. And that's why it was 6 to go.
And once again, pretty easy yardage by the Australians. They're one set from halfway. They're right up on the New Zealand line. They've got some touches in hand, and they'll be setting up. I just want to try and keep that buffer of 2 points ahead if they possibly can.
Yeah, really a nothing play that time. They were trying to set him up back on the short side for the switch.
Yeah, New Zealand quickly into the transition there. Just their roll-on's just been halted there by the Australian defence. There's good yards by George Rogers, Chrissy Wall.
They've got a roll on here, the Coolies.
Well, the referees, what's referee Tim Lucas going to say about that? And I think what happened there was he got pushed, and I don't know the push was that hard, but he slipped on the cricket pitch at the same time, and he just landed right in the point of his tailbone, which is a pretty painful place to land on that hard compressed. Here we go. We'll just see a replay of this. There's a ball from George Rogers.
You'll see young Brent Matters come in here with the two-handed touch.
Yeah, and that was a very strong two-handed touch on Jeff Narty. He really sat on his tailbone, and that would have hurt him.
Especially out there on that cricket pitch area. I was walking around there earlier today, and it was very, very solid underfoot. Not much give it all out there.
I think this is Jeff Narty. I don't know whether he's grimacing or laughing or in pain or he's pulled a penalty there.
Well, he's got the ball.
He's got... Whatever the result was the right one for New Zealand.
Well, I'll take that on advice. New Zealand again slowing it down out there, trying to drag the Australians out.
Jason Silamaka. Long ball over the top. We just needed to flick that ball inside there.
Yeah, it was well read by the Australians. They were
shut it down pretty well.
But New Zealand, this is better attack from